Welcome to the first episode of Beauty Heals Podcast. I am your host, Brittany Stewart. I am a wife, a mother of three, and your creative friend. I am so excited for this podcast. If you are watching on YouTube, you're going to have to forgive me for the lighting issues. Our setup right now is so funny. My studio is amazing and full of light, but I'm trying to figure it out, you guys, but we are figuring it out as we go. And I feel like that's like the only way to do it. Action breeds clarity. That's what my coach says. But let's get started. I honestly wanted to talk today about beauty heals, what that means, and a little bit about my story and how kind of like beauty came to be for me and what that really looks like tangibly. So first of all, I don't know if most of you guys know my husband. We've been together since high school. I married him in 2014. And I've known him for about 11 years, which is actually insane, like half my life. And he is a YouTuber and the biggest dreamer that I know. When we got married, I had no idea that my life would be so public. I grew up with a very protective daddy. And I love that about him. And I didn't realize how conflicted things would be as soon as you get married. You're like, I don't understand what is happening internally, but something is conflicted here. My grandfather was a war veteran. And so the hypervigilance and the protective Papa Bear energy was strong. And so that was passed down from generation to generation. And I have that. And so when we got married and his YouTube career took off, I always say I fell in love before anything happened. So a lot of people are like, oh, like you love him because he was a YouTuber. No. I fell in love with a shaggy football player in like sophomore year. That's literally what happened. And he wasn't doing YouTube. He was still making videos. Like if you ask his mama, he's been making videos since he was probably like 6 or younger. So he's the biggest goofball and he's the best. I was not prepared for the fishbowl life that most, I don't know, like I call him like a small f famous because I wouldn't consider him or like what we do like on any kind of celebrity status. But it's weird when you look at YouTubers and their platforms and then you see their fan base and see, like, from my perspective, something to know about me is that I've never really been one of those people who fall for things very hard. The only thing I've really fallen very hard for is Justin. And but like I've just never fangirled over anything. No celebrity, no movie. I'm just very like steady with everything. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's nice. But I don't really, I'm not like a diehard fan. And I don't know what that really says about me, but, but that's just my personality. So when it comes to like fans and all of that, it plays a huge part in our story and mine specifically. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about my story, my testimony, and why I even created this podcast, to be honest. I've had so many brain injuries, you guys. It's bonkers, like absolutely insane how many brain injuries I have had. One of them being like not so funny. I was on the verge of turning 2 and I fell out of a grocery cart and I almost died. So Not my parents' fault, but it was a very sad situation, and I'm very grateful by the grace of God I am still here. So there was that one. And then, in between then and my worst traumatic brain injury, there was just, small ones like being hit in the head by a soccer ball or just like stuff like that. But then I gave myself a concussion in volleyball, and I just completely rolled too hard and hit my head. And then the worst situation that I've ever really dealt with, that I'm actually dealing with, some repercussions now, is how anatomy tables are so high up, they're very like elevated off the floor. And so I just remember being in an anatomy class. I was like a junior, and I did not know how to take care of myself or nourish my body at this point. And so I was like, a Starbucks Frappuccino is 100% going to suffice for breakfast. And I'm in my first period class, and I just remember looking at my friend, and I'm like, I'm going to pass out. I'm going to pass out. And I don't remember anything after that. And I remember waking up shortly after I blacked out, and I just remember I was wearing a skirt, and thank God I had my volleyball shorts under that, but they were trying to elevate my legs, and my whole class was just around me. And all I remember is this feeling of like warm pain, like a warm, wet sensation around my head and my neck. And I thought for sure that I was bleeding out of my head. I'm like, I don't know what is happening, but like, I just laid on the floor until the paramedics came, but it was awful. And I hit my head in the same spot that I did when I rolled and gave myself a concussion in the volleyball game. So that's my brain injury story. And so I am definitely like that mom that is like, I don't care what activity you are doing, like you need a helmet. And that's the end of that. As far as like health issues and just all of that, I mean, motherhood itself is a sanctifying fire of love and pain and all of the emotions in between. And oh my goodness, I can't tell you how amazing motherhood is, but also that's when I was like, you know what? I need to take my mental health and my physical health seriously. And that's when I really was like, okay, like art is not just like, like a decoration. It is medicine. And over the years, I've really looked into that, and I actually did not know that art therapy was a degree that that was even existed. If I knew about that, I 100% probably would have locked myself into a world of debt and committed, because I'm like, that sounds incredible. But I feel like I've been a product of art therapy and just didn't know it, because when I was really depressed, I've gone through depression, anxiety, and really just all the different emotions, because, I would say that up until my 30s, I have not had the most confidence. And so when you have that, and then you marry someone who is extremely confident and successful, and then you have eyes on your life and people judging you and people using you and people walking away and people seeing things on your social media platforms and assuming that you're okay when you're really, really not. It begs you to look within yourself and to grow. And so that's what I did. And it's been such a journey. It's been full of like so much blood, sweat, and tears. But I wouldn't trade it for anything, because all of these things that I have walked through with Justin has really made us who we are. And I'm I'm really grateful. I feel like I can finally get to a point where it's like, we were stalked at one point, and it's taken me years. This was like 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. And I won't go into the details because it's not worth it. But I will say that I'm grateful. It's taken me a long time to rebuild trust with pretty much everyone. There was a time where I was like, I think I'm gonna hermit for the rest of my life. And because again, like I say this a lot where I'm like, I only fell in love. I didn't ask for a platform. And I know like that sounds very privileged because again, from the outside, it's like, oh, woe is you, could be worse. I've literally heard that as well. And I'm like, well, you know what? You don't know what someone's going through. Like, I think social media obviously has done us so many amazing things, but the biggest disservice is creating walls and assumptions that people are doing better than they actually are. And I try really hard to be authentic. That's one of my biggest core values. And I think that's why I have this podcast. That's why I share everything I do. That's why I create women's events where we use art as a tool to unarmor ourselves and to soften and to grow and to get stronger and all of those things. I think, so all in conclusion, I'm just very grateful. And amidst all the issues that I have had to walk through. And so going back to like beauty heals, I think we tend to see beauty as something that's unattainable or expensive, or we're just not creative. We're not, I don't know if you guys, let me know what you think about beauty. When you think of beauty, like what word comes to mind? Because some people could be like, oh, beauty as in like, vanity, or maybe beauty as in fashion. Or when I think of beauty, I literally think of when the sun, like right now, if you're watching the YouTube video, the sun is insanely, like it's making me sweat right now. I am in a long sleeve shirt and the sun through this window is blasting me through the face. But I love it. I love the sunshine. It is beautiful. It's regulating, and I find beauty in that. And I have a disco ball hanging from my window, and I see little like sparkles all over my room right now. Like that to me is beauty. It's the noticing. It's the free noticing, or, going like spending time in nature, spending time with loved ones, the way that they laugh, the way that they crinkle their nose, the way that, I don't know, like the leaves blow in the trees. Things like that are like that slow us down. They force us. It actually like, I'm going to get into like the nitty gritty right now about like in the details of how beauty heals. There's actually so much. So I'm pulling up, my notes here because, and I'm going to probably put all of these details in the show notes as well, because it's incredible. Like beauty, whether you are painting or gardening or doing pottery or, there's so many different ways to make art and beauty and all of that. But there are studies that show that beauty, art therapy, okay, lowers blood pressure, lowers cortisol, stress hormones. Like that alone, I feel like if people just, I hate to oversimplify things in life because I know that I'm going to get comments about this, but it actually is that simple. I know we hate that because sometimes we're like, I need a big giant like to-do list. And it's like, actually just go outside. Just go outside, get your face in some sunshine and breathe. Like that's how simple it is. So with all of my brain injuries, I think this is like the biggest thing for me is the neuroaesthetics. And this is the field that studies what happens in the brain when we actually experience beauty. So this is art, music, nature, architecture, even like design. And so the key findings in these studies are the reward system. Okay, so similar circuits to those involved in pleasure, bonding, and motivation, and areas involved in pain and stress. So literally where you guys have stress, like where we all have stress and pain, those sensors in our brain, when we are experiencing beauty and pleasure and even like gratitude, it is literally healing our brains. It's incredible. It lowers markers of stress. I've already said that. Supports resilience and emotional regulation. That is literally when I was depressed and I felt like this was probably like 8 or 9 years ago when I was severely depressed and I was like, I quit my job. Justin's YouTube channel was doing really well. And I was like, who am I? Who am I amidst what I do? Because all of these experiences that I've had, whether they were physical or emotional, they are all asking me, who are you when you are not accomplishing something? Are you enough to just sit and enjoy the sunrise? Are you enough for that? Are you worthy enough for that? Are you okay with allowing yourself to enjoy this right now? And I have had to battle that so much because even to this day, I'm not talking like a lot of this stuff, just hear me out on this. A lot of this stuff is not me coming from a point where I'm like, hey, I finished this. This is me finished. This is me completely healed. I don't think we will ever be completely healed this side of heaven. There will be certain things that we have overcome, but like that doesn't mean that we will like that scars still show. Sometimes scars still show. They do. Wounds still hurt. But you know that you're healing when things don't bother you as much. They don't like work you up. You're not as activated, okay? When I was couch ridden, struggling, practicing photography and art literally helped me to not only feel seen and heard, but like it regulated my nervous system. And I really do believe that obviously there's so many other things that I could have ran to cope with. And the fact that I used art, like what a beautiful medicine and a beautiful tool. And I'm so thankful that was my coping mechanism. And I know that's not everybody's story, but I'm telling you right now, like, just try it. If my story, if anything that I'm sharing right now, like, is hitting a chord with you, like, you are worthy of art. You are worthy of, like, just sitting in beauty. And if that's just allowing yourself to go out in nature and like, I know how hard it is to stop and pause because sometimes when you're in survival mode, like I was for years, it's hard to stop and allow yourself to actually feel what you need to feel to heal. And that's really, really, it's really tough. This whole podcast, this is my third time trying to film this because the words that I need to get out, I feel like a bird that has been like locked in a cage, trying to talk also with like being a mom, like a stay-at-home mom. Sometimes, you know, you don't really get like your whole conversations out all the time. And you're interrupted a lot. And so there's that aspect as well. But here on Beauty Heals, I hope that you are encouraged and that through the veil kind of being like opened and moved a little bit with me sharing my story, because I know a lot of people look up to Justin and I. And I think when people have platforms, it's easy to just being like, hey, they have everything. I'm seeing their highlight reel and everything looks great. And I can't tell you how much that is not true at all. At all. When people have platforms, of course, you're going to just only see the highlight reel, because I don't believe that the social media platforms that we have were made for the nitty-gritty details of life. And this podcast is not that either. But I think there's the authenticity and the stories and the testimonies like I'm doing right now. Like, I think that is what kind of like lowers the, I don't know how to describe this. It's like, here's a picture for you, is instead of a stage, the stage actually becomes a table where everybody gets to sit at the same table, eat the same food on the same kind of plate, and we're all on level ground. And especially with like, you know, YouTubers and influencers being like the top, like most desired job. I think it's good to just showcase like, hey, you know, like not everything is perfect. Lowering the it's not really even fake, but like sometimes it can be a little bit fake. Can we agree on that? Of just being like, here's the reality of having a platform. Sometimes people are going to like stare at you in public and it's going to make you uncomfy. For me, having the hypervigilance family passed down, I can't tell you how hard that has been for me to walk in public and have people stare. And I'm questioning if I have something on my pants or in my teeth, or do they know me and they're just not saying it? It's the things that I just never thought that I would have to walk through. And I think a lot of us have those stories, and it's just part of our stories, and it's a part of our walk here on this side of heaven. I'm going to read one more quote for you guys before I wrap this up. Some works suggest that feeling beauty modulates neural pathways that overlap with those physical and emotional pain, essentially offering a counter signal that soothes the system. I'm going to put all of these studies in the show notes so you guys can look at them. And if you like that kind of stuff like I do, and just see what art can do for you. It's done so much for me. I know it's done so much for Justin. And I just hope and pray that this podcast becomes a place where you are inspired to make a mess, to find beauty in the clouds, the sun, your friends' laugh, anything. A lot of beauty is actually free, and we're going to do a podcast episode on that as well, because like I said earlier, it doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to actually like pick up a paintbrush in order to allow yourself to experience beauty. It's in the way that you dress. There's going to be another episode on that too. I'm just giving you a sneak peek into like literally all the goodness that is going to come through this episode, this podcast. And I'm so excited. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to even just share my journey with you guys. And I'm grateful for this journey, and to say that I have a platform in order to bring light to it, in order to say yes to yourself and to slow down and to even like vocalize the things that bother us, the things that need attention, the things that need nurturing. That's bravery, and it requires a lot of strength. And for me to do this episode, I laugh at myself because I'm like, it was so hard to start. It was so incredibly hard. Justin asked me when I was beginning, he was like, how'd it go? And I'm like, it was awful. It was so awful. I don't know why. I could not just get the words out. And I feel like I'm still kind of struggling. But I will keep practicing and giving myself grace. And I hope that you do the same thing. And I hope that this place of words and storytelling and beauty become a place that gives you joy and reminds you that you don't have to work for beauty, that you can sit and enjoy, and it's right in front of you. Thanks for being here.